Welcome to a Toast to Truth. This is where I share the mental, financial, and emotional frustrations of being an entrepreneur. This is Season 6, Episode 7, All Skinfolk Ain't Kinfolk in Entrepreneurship. So let's go into today's question. Should we blast our own community when they have fraudulent business practices? Now, I know people love to talk about how Black-owned businesses have poor customer service, their prices are too high, they never have anything in stock, it's hard to get them when you're trying to reach out and communicate. They may not have a website, or if they have a venue or what do you call it, a storefront, then it's never clean, the paint is chipping. All of that is valid in a sense. However, a lot of the problems we have is when we do not have customers paying for our products and services. It's kind of hard to maintain a nice looking storefront. It's kind of hard to maintain an online presence, especially when, believe it or not, most African-American owned businesses, Black-owned businesses are solopreneurs, and they may have people helping them out. A lot of times they do not have people who are full-time employees. Now, this is not the thesis of this particular episode, but I did want to address that because it is something that I see a lot of online. And the question today is, should we blast our own community when they have fraudulent business practices? Again, all of that is valid. However, we have to look at the other side. If we're not supporting them and other people are not supporting them financially by buying their products and services, using their venues, using them as vendors, outsourcing to them, collaborating with them, and money is shared amongst each other, then there's a lot of things that they really can't do because they do not have the funds for it. Again, that's not what we're going to talk about in this episode. This episode, I want to break down some things that I have had to deal with over the last several years. Well, really since the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey in 2011, where people you look up to, you admire, you respect, who are skinfolk, but they definitely do not turn out to be kinfolk when it comes to entrepreneurship. They turn out to be shady. They turn out to be frauds. They turn out to be people that, as you're looking at them, you realize that maybe you should have taken a few steps back and never met them. That's how I feel about a few people. So I'm going to share a few examples that has happened to me as far as some shady people and what they've done in entrepreneurship. Now, I wrote an article called, "Are You the Toxic Person in the Relationship?" In this case, I'm going to start with the toxic family branch in my tree. We always talk about there are toxic people in the world. Guess what? Sometimes those toxic people have family, and sometimes those toxic people are in yours. Unfortunately, I have toxic people in my family, and I'm going to share why I have cut off all ties with that particular branch of my family. So this particular branch wanted to start a business. Let me just start out by saying they are like the Tommy. You know Tommy from Martin. He always had money. He always said he was working, but nobody ever actually knew like where exactly he worked, what his job was. So that's this part of the family. They wanted to start a business, and they decided to swindle my mother and my brother out of some money. And I'm not going to say how much, but it's a pretty significant amount of money. So significant that I scolded my own mother. I went off on my own brother, and I have yet to talk to those cousins since then. And it's been a good 3-4 years since I've spoken to them. I have blocked them from Facebook. I have deleted their phone numbers and emails, and I have blocked them from access to my newsletter. I want nothing to do with them. They swindled my mother and my brother out of some money, said they were going to invest. My brother and my mother gave them the money. Then next thing I know, they got a new car. They live in this big old house. They didn't actually do what they said they were going to do with the money. They furnished their lifestyle with a lot of money. Then they had the nerve to avoid my brother when he asked what was going on with the business. He wanted some updates. Then they had the nerve to send my mother a text message saying that she should not threaten them over some money and she should just let it go. So you see, I'm a little amped up, riled up about this, but according to my mother, just leave it alone, let it sit. That's okay. If she wants to let it sit, that's fine. That was her money that she lost, and that's something she will have to deal with. However, I am never going to speak to them again. If you call yourself family, you are blood related, and your aunt believed enough in you to go get money for your business, and then you ended up financing your personal life and have the nerve to say she shouldn't worry about it, but you call yourself a Christian, yeah, you a fraud and you toxic. And I don't care if we're related or not. We have nothing to do with each other ever again. When that happened, and after I calmed down, because my sister was like, you really need to calm down. We got to see what the whole situation is, because she wasn't part of it either. Then we found out that it wasn't just that cousin and her husband. It was that cousin, her husband, her mother, her sister. It was a lot of people that, come to find out, had been receiving money from my mother for living expenses, but she didn't know it was for living expenses because all of them were claiming to be entrepreneurs. See, my mother is a very nice person. And I've had to, over the last 3-4 years, get her to go around telling people F you. She still is not there yet, but she's getting there. I need her to come with an F you attitude every time. I said that 3 times. Someone steps to her because she's too sweet. She's too nice. And her family knows that. And they have taken advantage of her for the absolute last time. I've helped this branch of my family. My brother, my mother, we've helped this branch of the family. They always have some business idea, always want to do something, but they're shady. And we've all had that family member who says they are going to start this business. They make it seem good. They take the money and they run. So yes, everybody has a fraud in their family somewhere that you ignore, that you don't say anything about, that you don't talk to, that you never confront. And then they continue to do that to other people in the family because no one has checked them. No one has put them in their place. So since my mother said that I can't go to that state and confront them publicly, because my sister and I were ready to go get up in that car and drive, because we said if we drove, it would let our anger fester. So when we saw them, we could really let them have it. So my mom was like, no, don't do it. Just let it go. So I have not forgotten. I haven't talked to them. I haven't dealt with them, but it really did teach me a lesson in business. It taught me that no matter who the person is who presents a proposal, you need to read that proposal with a fine-tooth comb and have a contract that they sign that if they do not do well with that money, then they have to pay X amount of dollars back within a specific time frame. So it definitely taught me that family, friends, or just some general person, contract must be signed before money is ever given. I will never give anyone in my family money after this particular incident has happened. They have totally effed it up for everybody else in my family. And if family is listening, because I know they listen, they want to know who it is, you probably already know who it is. Anyway, so that is a lesson that I've learned in that particular situation, because they were kinfolk. Okay, they weren't just skinfolk, they were actually kinfolk who did my mother dirty. And the lesson I learned is never, ever give anyone money until a contract has been signed, an agreement has been made, and terms and conditions are within that contract, and there's a signature, a date, and everybody knows when money is due, to whom, by whom. That is very important. That's what I learned from that particular incident. So even though I may never talk to this cousin ever again, one thing I learned out of this whole situation is I never do anything without a contract, ever. And I'm going to talk about another incident in this episode about why contracts matter. So that was, first example. I wanted to get that out the way because I'm a little hyped, I'm a little amped on that in particular, just because you just never expect something of that nature to happen from people who are in your own family. You never expect your own family to be the foe. You never expect your own family to be the ones to steal, kill, to get what they want over someone that they're supposed to be some type of loving connection with. You do not do things like that to someone that you love and then have no remorse or no regret about what you did. And you just move on in life as if nothing happened and the other person should get over it because you decided you changed your mind, but you didn't want to give the money back. If you change your mind and you're not going to do the business that you propose, then you give the money back, all of it. You don't keep it and go buy yourself a new car. That, in and of itself, shows your character. It shows the type of person you are. And it shows just how much you really know, understand, and love about the God that you claim to have within you. So I'm going to move on to the next story, but I definitely want people to take two things from that. The first one, the contract, very important. Have all the details, the money, the dates, who does what, have it written down and agreed upon, signed. Second thing, don't let your infatuation with Jesus-dom, kind of like kingdom, get in the way of seeing someone for who they are. Just because someone says they love Jesus doesn't actually mean they follow the principles that he followed as far as treating people with the same level of respect that you would expect those people to treat you with. Okay, second example of all skinfolk and kinfolk. I had this business coach that I worked with for a while. I've talked about this business coach in previous episodes. Please go back and listen to the previous 39 episodes because trust me, you will learn something from my misfortune. My misfortune, you will always learn something from my misfortune. But this coach, for some reason, had it in for me. And I thought I was the only one. This coach wanted to call me out at a retreat because I decided to pay someone else to teach me how to be a speaker instead of this particular coach. Yet this particular coach wasn't actually making money from speaking, but wanted me to pay, which I didn't understand. That's crazy. A lot of people want you to pay them to teach you how to do something that they haven't exactly done themselves. And what this coach stated as to why I should be paying this coach for speaking instead of someone else was that they went to a seminar by Les Brown. Oh my God. This goes exactly back to what I was talking about in episode 6 of season 6, where I stated about be a student of your industry. Just because you sat in a seminar by Les Brown does not make you a speaking guru. And I do not need to give you money to teach me to speak because you sat down and watched Les Brown. Guess what? I can get on YouTube and watch Les Brown too. Does that make me a speaker? Do I need to go out and tell someone else, hey, let me teach you how to be a speaker because I watched Les Brown on YouTube? No. So that ticked me off by this person. I was young. I had only been in business maybe a year and a half. For some reason, I didn't know that I probably should have been watching for that red flag and that sign, but I didn't know what I was looking for. So I joined a mastermind by this same coach. I was picked on and called out every single time. Every idea I had for my business was shut down, and later on, that same coach used it in their business. So that ticked me off. When I had Fusion Tour, I was told by the same coach that I wasn't ready for a national tour because this coach didn't teach me how to create a national tour. 5 weeks later, this coach was doing something very similar to what I was doing. Time has gone by. I have put out programs. A few months later, that same coach has put out programs with the same name. Maybe change a one word, but the general consensus was the same. And I was starting to get really frustrated. And so I called the coach out on Facebook without saying the name. And why did I get an inbox full of people who guessed who that person was? It was amazing. Turns out this person has been doing it to other people in Houston for a while. And, a few months ago, I was talking to a group of people and we were all sharing an experience. And what was crazy is when we all were looking at each other and we all said the name at the same time and it was the exact same person, and everybody in that group had a negative interaction or experience with this same coach. But this person runs on the platform of sisterhood, that we should support one another. Come to find out, what that means to this person is that we support this person's platform. We support everything this person does. And if we're lucky enough, this person will give us a little bit of what this person has collected from everyone. It was just the most asinine, frustrating thing to experience, that you're paying someone to be your coach. And then they're taking your ideas, monetizing your ideas, and you really can't do anything about it because this person has a larger platform than you and you're younger, because I was, in my 20s and I didn't know what to do other than say this person is stealing my stuff. But there's still nothing you can do because technically some ideas you just can't trademark. So, of course, other people are going to take those ideas, spin it, and do whatever it is they want to do. What I learned from that experience, because it took me, I'm not going to lie, because I'm always going to tell you guys the truth. It took me a good 2 years to forgive that person and myself for dealing with that person, and to not let the situation engulf my emotions, my decision making, because I made so many scared decisions thinking that someone else was going to do to me what that coach did for years. It prevented me from making wise decisions. It prevented me from thinking clearly. I literally was in a state of scarcity mindset and fear that someone was going to take something. So I really stopped creating. I really stopped doing a whole lot of stuff. I shut down Women Are Game Changers for a time period. I stopped doing Fusion Tour. This person crippled me because I was so frustrated, annoyed, and pissed off because I wanted to fight this person. But I knew I couldn't fight this person because I needed to not stoop down to a certain level. But, oh my God, I felt if I could just punch this person one good time, I would feel better. But I also knew there would be very serious consequences if I did that. So I had to figure out how to deal with the situation, and I didn't deal with it in the best way. And it really did cripple my business to the point where I literally lost pretty much everything. And it just was a very, very dark time. And I was still at that time, my depression had gotten so severe and so serious that I would go days at a time and not get out of bed, and like literally sitting in a dark room. And it was a very, very hard time. What I've learned from that situation is to vet people, definitely to vet people. But I can't treat someone else that I meet based on the residue left over from a previous person. So what does that mean? Because someone else did me wrong doesn't mean I need to have an attitude with someone I just meet. Doesn't mean I need to take it out on the next person. I need to treat everyone as if they're a new, fresh person, and they have a clean slate. And we just start from where we have met. Hi, I'm Vernetta. Hi, I'm so-and-so. And we start there. So I had to learn that I can't transfer negative emotions from one situation with a fraud with someone I just met. That's not fair to the person that I just met. What else did I learn from this particular situation with that coach was that I have good ideas. Obviously, if this person stole quite a few of them, I have some pretty good ideas. I can't be afraid that just because someone with a bigger platform and more popular than I am stole them doesn't mean that I can't take it, implement it, and execute it. Because it's my idea. I know what I'm doing. It was my idea. So why shouldn't I follow through with the idea that I came up with? Just because someone else took it doesn't mean that I can't continue with it. So that was definitely a situation where I learned about myself. It was a situation where I had to learn how to get out of my own way. I had to learn how to deal with my emotions, how to deal with people, how to deal with frauds. I definitely have to be a better judge of character. And the sad part is I'm an excellent judge of character. The problem is I did not listen to my gut. I don't do that anymore. If something is fishy, I listen to my gut. And at that time, I was trying to be supportive because this person was Skinfolk. I was trying to be supportive because this person believed in sisterhood. I was trying to be supportive because this person claimed they knew what they were doing, but they were shady. Shady, shady, shady. And so after I got over the hurt and the frustration, I came out stronger as a woman, as a person, and it's helped me to look at business a different way and protect the interests of the business and not let personal emotions get in the way of decisions that need to be made. So if I feel someone is shady, I'm cutting them off. If I feel that I'm not getting what I need from a person, then I'm not going to continue working with them. It's not personal. It is in the best interest of my business. Okay, so we're going to stop and take a sip, and we will be back. Do you love exclusive deals, offers, and specials? Who doesn't? I know I do. Target.com has some amazing deals, offers, and specials. All you have to do is subscribe to my newsletter, and it comes straight to you with a lot of juicy discount codes. Also, if you are looking to go from a stressful situation, like you heard in part 1, to a peaceful solution, then you need to order your copy of Detox the BS Journal. Go to VernettaRFrenny.com to sign up for the newsletter and to purchase your copy of the Detox the BS Journal. Okay, so we're back for part 2. Whew. I think I'm woosah. I think I'm letting go of the residue that was still there from those two particular situations, because those two particular situations hurt to my core. And it was just, you did not expect that to happen from family or from someone you admired, that you had respected. Had its past tense. I rolled my eyes. You can't see that, but I rolled my eyes. You had respected a person. And now you kind of just, that person stays on that side of Houston. I stay on my side, and we all good. Okay, so let's go into a couple more experiences. You know, I probably should write a book or something, because I'm like, everything that can go wrong, that has gone wrong, you have listened to that in this podcast. A lot of things have happened, but I still smile. I'm still happy. I still have joy. I still have peace. I still like myself, because I had to work through all of that to understand that it happened to me. It is not me. It happened because I was not aware of things, or I was not protective of myself in a way that I should have been protective. And it happened. And there's nothing I could do about it. I could continue to sulk and whine and cry and cuss out everybody. Or I can say, okay, what can I do to move on and make better use of the lessons that I have learned in all these episodes that I have been sharing with you guys. So that's what I'm doing. I'm moving on, taking what I've learned, and not allowing other people's actions, I should say, to dictate the decisions that I make for my own life. I hope that you, if you've gone through any terrible situation in business and that person looks like you or his family, that you don't allow their actions to dictate how you're going to continue to move forward. We can't do that. We can't give that power to someone else. We have to work through the emotions, detox the BS, and once we work through that emotion, then we have a strength, we have a peace, and we protect it at all costs. That's what we do. Okay, so I have this particular story or experience I'm going to share. It's not a Skinfolk person. It's not a Skinfolk person, but I'm going to tell you how it's related to Skinfolk. So I was a blogger for an event, and I was supposed to get paid. Long story short, I didn't get paid for the event. And again, this person ain't Skinfolk. This person had the money and gypped myself and someone else. Another thing that we were supposed to get, being a blogger for this event, was an evaluation of our business. And I had to literally confront them and say, you have not followed up on your end. Now, this person, well known on a national TV show, who, has a little segment or whatever, had this big tour that everyone went to. I don't want to say sisterhood, but this is why I don't do empowerment and sisterhood, because a lot of these women are frauds. A lot of these women take advantage of the insecurities and the desires and desperation that a lot of us have when we go there because we want better, and they smell it and they jump on it. So anyway, this person looked over my plan for my business. It was for Fusion Tour, and wrote on my plan, this is not a good idea. You will never make money from it. And I was devastated, because I'm like, I've been making money. I'm asking you how to expand it. Long story short, not even 4 months later, everything I wrote in that plan, this person changed their entire conference to look like exactly what I wrote in that plan. However, karma, thank you for this theme, karma and destiny. Karma came back, and that person barely made it through 3 stops before they had to shut down the tour. This is why you do not steal other people's ideas when they come to you for advice, because it's part of the agreement, part of the contract. So this person stole my idea, tried to change their whole conference to it, then was trying to charge $1,000 for it, and couldn't get through 3 tour stops. Hadn't done their event in years. It's coming back next year, and now a Skinfolk person is running that particular conference. You know why? Because that person didn't know what they were doing. And when you try to steal from someone else and then it fails miserably, yeah, your best bet is to actually go hire someone who knows what they're doing. When I say I was pissed to the max, I seriously lost all respect for that person. I unfriended that person from Facebook. I have not even watched that morning show ever again, just because that person is associated with it. And this is a national morning show. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I wish I could. But I'm not going to be petty. A little bit, maybe not a lot. But it really, really taught me some things about how people treat you when you are smaller, when you are younger, and when you have ideas that they can't think of themselves. How they will use and manipulate you to take it so that they can continue to build their brand because they got stuck. Their brand stalled because they're not being as creative as they once were. Times have changed and they weren't able to keep up. So the best thing they could do was take from someone who is in touch with the times. What I've learned from that particular situation is never give another person a business idea. Like, never let them see my business idea, the whole thing. I mean, I wrote out every detail. Every detail. And that person took every detail as if it was their own idea. I will never do that again. Even my mom was like, you gave everything? I did not know. I was supposed to be learning from this person who supposedly is a millionaire. And I'm supposed to be getting advice on how to build up my own tour. And it was stolen. So, I was just like, I can't believe that this happened to me. And I learned of this person through that coach. So yeah, when you meet shady people, you may not want to go with who they suggest, because shady people tend to stick together. Why? Because birds of a feather. They're going to protect each other. They know they're not of good character. So it's just easier to be around people who are like you. Another experience that I've gone through, I had a TV show a few years ago here in Houston. I was excited, never even heard of the station before. They were on analog, they weren't a cable station, so you had to have, that little box, not the antenna, but the little box, digital box. You have the digital box, and anyway, you program and you get this station. So they contacted me. They found my blog. They liked my blog. I went in. I thought I was going to do maybe some blogging for the network. I ended up getting my own TV show that was related to womenaregamechangers.com. I had never been a part of TV, didn't know anything about it. They told me it was going to cost X amount of dollars to produce it. And I'm thinking, well, why am I paying? Like, you want me to be on the show. Don't you pay for the show? So no. If you are producing something, that means you are financing. That's what a producer does. They pay for the show. Lesson learned. So I ended up getting the show paid for by my mother. And I had 6 episodes. I called in some friends. I even had a huge national political correspondent who was on an episode. I mean, her episode was amazing. I still have the episodes. They're just not public anymore. But they were some good episodes. It was a good show. And I was honestly one of their more popular shows. I had to keep paying for everything. And I was like getting a little frustrated. And then they lost one of my episodes that they were supposed to be editing. And I had to reshoot it at my own expense. After I read them up one side and read them down another side, and then I went into the studio and read them up one side and read them down another side, I lost all Christian value at that point. They were very, how can I put it, knew never to cross me again. Because I'm like, you are the most incompetent, unprofessional people to do something of this magnitude and then expect me to pay for your mistakes. So I reshot the episode. A friend let me use her clothing boutique. The guest came back. I explained to them what happened. They did it. It didn't turn out as great as it could have been because it wasn't in studio, but I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get this done. And then I would bring advertisers to the network, and they would take those advertisers, put them on other shows, and keep the money. That was like the most infuriating thing, because I'm like, that is how I'm supposed to be paying for my show. I'm bringing you advertisers for my show, not because you are broke. So I learned that they were having a little bit of a financial struggle. Long story short, the show lasted one season. I know people watched it because when my sister, she worked at a housing complex. She was like their technology teacher or whatever. She would always come in, and the day after my show aired, her residents would come in and were like, we saw your sister on TV last night, blah, blah. So I know people watched it. But it just really opened my eyes to how people take advantage of novices in an industry. I didn't know anything about TV. I didn't know anything about being a producer. I didn't know I was going to have all this responsibility to have a show go to air, all the financial burden of having the show go to air. However, I can always say I produced, directed, wrote, created, and host a TV show. That in and of itself is an amazing feat. It aired for an entire season, and it was a great credibility boost because it was in the middle of Fusion. So it definitely showed that I can take an idea and move to another level with that idea. And your favorite coach had the nerve to ask me how this coach could get a TV show because I had a TV show. But when I left that station, I wrote a blog post outing them because everybody knew who it was. I mean, I left with so much anger. I was so angry about the situation. I had a lot of, I don't want people to think I'm angry, but when you go through something you put your heart, soul, and money into, and you're taken advantage of, and all you're trying to do is build your brand, and someone is taking advantage of you because they're a heartless fraud, it will cause a lot of anger. It will cause a lot of resentment. It will cause a lot of frustration. And it can fester, and you can sit and stew in it, or you can learn to get out of that and try to better yourself and protect yourself in the future. Whew. I know y'all probably like, girl, you have been through it. I have been through it. And I'm still here to tell the tale. I'm still here with a smile on my face. I'm still here happy because I can't let negative experiences deter me on my entrepreneurship path. Things happen. Nothing will go perfect. Honestly, I wish everything could go perfect for everyone, but it doesn't. If you can't get through these very trying times, then entrepreneurship may not be for you. If you can't figure out how to get out of the hole, then entrepreneurship may not be for you. If you can't figure out how to find the light at the end of the tunnel, then entrepreneurship may not be for you. You got to think about that. Okay, last experience I'm going to share, and this is a recent one. So the other ones all dealt with me personally, my entrepreneurship. This last one deals with the Houston African American Bloggers Association. We were going to have a show on a radio network. We had done the work, we had gone to meetings, we had communicating back and forth. We had a work day, we were so excited. But throughout the whole process, I just had this feeling. I was never happy. I was never enthused about it. The other two leadership members, they were happy, but they were everybody has their reservations. You always have your reservations. But I was never woohoo, jump for joy. That was not me. And I try not to be Sally the sourpuss, but I'm always after those 4 experiences you guys have listened to, now you understand why I'm very let's see the whole picture, and I will make my decision then. Long story short, I did some research. One of the other leadership team members did some research. We realized that they had lost their radio tower. But we didn't get that information. We have gotten every runaround until I directly asked, do you own it? Do you still have it? That, I don't want to say it was dishonest, but it was why would I pay you? Because I understood from the TV, the TV experience, I needed to make sure contracts, money, everything was written out. There was no contract given to us about this radio show until I asked the 5th time. Then the contract had everything in it that I have stated. You do not trust the contract when they give you everything that you have asked for. If that's the case, you need to be very, very cautious. Why would someone give you everything you asked for without asking a question, without trying to negotiate? We made the decision to not work with this network, to separate, to move, in different ways. I sent an email stating that instead of a phone call. Let me tell you why. You never send a phone call stating something in that manner because you want proof. If you have an email, if you're like me, then you save a copy of that email, so it's always there. I save a copy of all email communication. If I get on the phone with you, I'm usually going to record the phone call. People can say whatever it is they want to about that, but after the experiences that you've heard in this episode, you have to be able to protect your business interests. So I record phone calls with my conference call line. I do a lot of stuff through email because I need that written record of proof of the communication between both parties. When it's all said and done, what we've learned from this particular experience is we were playing it small. I've said that before. Hab has been playing small. We're very capable of doing things, and we will be doing some amazing things starting in 2018 because we're not stopping. We're just moving forward. We just had a hiccup, literally a hiccup, and we kept it going. We learned that if someone else saw something in us, why couldn't we see it in ourselves? What going through all of these experiences, and I've gone through others, and you've heard them on previous episodes. And I advise you all to go and listen to all the episodes. Leave me a review on iTunes. Share this out. Because I'm really trying to help other people not be frustrated, not be pissed off, not want to throat punch people. I don't want you to have that feeling that I had. I don't want you to go through the negative emotions and the fallout of those negative emotions. I've gone through it. I don't really think anyone else should have to. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. But what I have been able to do is I don't let a lot of things stop me anymore. I really don't. I make a decision. I follow through. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I move on. If it works out, I keep going. There's nothing I can do but follow through. There's nothing I can do but worry about making sure that I'm doing my part, that I'm doing everything of the utmost excellence, and that I'm not allowing anyone else to come in so that I can place blame if something doesn't go well. I need to be responsible for my decisions. I need to be responsible for my actions. I need to be responsible for the leadership that I display. I can't push that on someone else. These experiences have taught me to read between the lines, to listen to what's not being said, to see what's not being shown, and to complete the picture, even if I don't have all the details. Because at the end of the day, any decision that is made is on me. It is mine, and I have to carry those consequences. So if I don't want negative consequences, then I need to make sure that I have thoroughly checked everything that needs to be checked out before proceeding, before putting my business at risk, before putting the blog association at risk. That's what I've learned. That's what I have gained. That is what I do. So when people are like, you're very stoic, you're very stern, you're very aggressive, who cares what you think? When I walk into a room and it's the meeting, I need to know everything that needs to be known. I need to know what's going on in that contract. I need to know your role and mine, your responsibilities and mine, your financial contribution and mine, what you make from that financial contribution and mine. It's not personal, it is business. And at the end of the day, I'm not there to be your drinking buddy. I'm there to do business. And if you can't see me as a woman in that capacity, then do not approach me to do business, because that's how I am going to be each and every time I walk into a meeting. And more women need to be like that. More women need to shut off that whole part of, let me be nice, let me be sensitive, let me stroke someone else's ego. F their ego. I don't need to work with someone with an inflated ego or someone that I have to stroke their ego. We have a job, go in, get the job done so that we can move on. I'm not there to help you out of a financial bind that you never told me you were in the first place. I'm not going to let you drag me into a financial situation because you're putting your hopes, dreams, desires on my ingenuity. No, boo, that's not how it's going to go. I'm not Jesus. I'm not your savior. I almost clapped. I was trying not to, but I almost clapped. But I'm not your savior. I'm not there to save your business. If you're having financial difficulties, which a lot of the experiences that I've shared, those people were going through financial difficulties, I'm not your savior. And I'm not dying on the cross to save you from your choices, from your decisions. I'm not. When I go into a meeting or when I want to work with you, that's all I want to do. At the end, I want us all to be better, but not at the expense of me, my business, my money. So we're going to get ready to wrap up because I want to make sure that I leave this episode and this season on a high note. So we're getting ready to give our final toast of the season and this episode. Okay, so at the end of the season, I give 2 final toasts. The first one is on this episode. What I want you guys to learn from all of this is, no, you should not call people out by name for what they did unless someone specifically asks for your opinion or your experience with that person. What you want to do is take the lesson you've learned, be more aware, and move on in the best emotional state that you can. The reason you do not want to call people out is because you do not want to come off as bitter, as resentful, as trying to tear someone else down. Karma will come back to get them. It will. It is not you who is to bring them down. Karma will handle that. It may not be to your liking, but it will be done. And don't worry about it. So you can call out the experience. You do not call out the person. It's hard. I know. I've been there. It is hard. But it is in your best interest to keep yourself away from getting into a beef with a shady, fraudulent person, because you don't want to put energy into that beef, because that's exactly what they want. That's exactly how they will tear you apart, because that's what they do. My final toast for this season is, now we know the season theme is karma and destiny. As far as karma is concerned, if you worry about looking at the lesson and not repeating the lesson, karma will take care of everything else. It may not be when you feel it should be done. It may not be done how you feel it should be done, but it will be done. It is not your job to seek vengeance because something didn't go well in business. What you can do is make sure that it does not repeat. The lesson will continue to repeat until you have learned to see what mistakes you made and stop making them. As far as destiny, sometimes we find our destiny in the least likely source. I never thought I would have a blog association. I just like blogging, but I knew I wanted to belong to a collective. I never thought I would have a business teaching journaling. I know I love teaching. I love teaching. I like helping people get to the point where they learn how to rely on themselves. And the best way you can rely on yourself is if you know how to define your own peace. Once you've defined your own peace, you're not worried about other people. But if you can't define your own peace, then you're always relying on other people to fill some void that you have. And we can't do that in order to live the life that we each want. So thus, my final toast for both of these, the episode and the season. This has been a toast to truth with me, Bernetta R. Freeney. This is Season 6, Episode 7, and the consequences I've encountered. Thank you so much for listening to another season. Go ahead and listen to all 40 episodes, share it out, leave some reviews, sign up for my newsletter, I will be back in 2018 with another season, and I can't wait to share my experiences and those wonderful consequences that I've encountered. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast journey.